So you're using Wix and you want to add membership to your website and also control how users sign up and log into your site. Welcome back to the Wix Wiz. I'm Eitan, and this is the first episode in a series which is going to discuss the different options for sign up and login forms in Wix, or in other words, authentication. We're going to be discussing 3 levels of customization for your different forms, as well as one bonus one. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on the basics, so the no-code options, which is the default form, and the no-code custom form option. And then in further episodes, we're going to dive in and talk a little bit about customizing with Velo code. So if you want to learn all about that and more, let's get started. The first step in setting up membership for your Wix website will be to install the Wix Members Area app. It's a free app that you can install from the app market. So if you are using Wix Classic, that's going to be right over here in Add Apps. And if you happen to be using Wix Studio, it will be over here in the similar icon of App Market. Once we go ahead and we install the Members app, it will give us access to different things like login and sign up. So let me go ahead and search for that members area. You can see I found it right over here. And once I go into it in the market, I can just go ahead and click add to site. As you can see, it was free to install, and that might take a minute or two. This is a good opportunity to talk about what we're actually doing here. Wix Members is essentially a built-in authentication solution. What is authentication? It is essentially a way for you to verify that the person that is logged in is who they say they are. So it's a way to make sure that somebody is a specific user. You're probably very, very familiar from it when using other websites. When you have some sort of login, you have to provide a secret password that's only yours, or it's connected to a social login or something like that. And the reason that you might want to do this is either to create a custom experience tailored to a specific user, or to limit access to certain parts of the site, so controlling essentially access and permissions. If you're still not 100% clear on what the difference is between members and, for example, contacts, people who fill out forms, I also have a video that explains about that. Once we've installed the Wix Members app, you'll notice a few things added to your site. So first of all, Wix directly will take you to an account page, which is essentially a page for a logged in member where they can view their account and edit their account info. We're not really going to be focusing on that today because our focus is going to be on the login and sign up methods. So if we take a look here at the pages and menu over here, we can see that if you start off here in site menu, usually you'll also have 2 new things that have been added here to your menu. So one is members area, which I just mentioned, and the other is sign up and login. This is going to be our focus. And essentially, out of the box, we have a sign up form and a login form. And those are the default forms. You can see it says over here default. And the case will be the same if you are using Wix Studio. So if you go over here to your pages, and then you go over here, you can see that you have here sign up and login pages, and also they are both set to default. From now on, I'm going to stick to the Wix editor, as it should mostly be the same between Wix editor and Wix Studio. If I see something that I think might be a little different, then I'll make sure to point that out. In addition to the sign up and login page, we also have this login bar that's been added automatically here on the upper right. If you happen to delete that by accident, don't worry, you can always add it back in using add elements. Okay, you can just go ahead here and search for login, and here you can see that you have the option to add back in that login bar. So that's just in case you happen to accidentally hit the delete button and get rid of that. You always have the option to add it in. And essentially what this is going to do is this is a button or a widget which allows the user to either log in or navigate to their different account pages or log out. Okay, so the essential functions that we're going to be talking about today with regard to authentication and the member area. In addition, there are a few other scenarios where somebody might be prompted to log in, and I'll talk about those in a moment. For now, I am going to go ahead and publish the site so that we can head over to the live site and see what happens when we try to log in. Here I am on the live site, and you can see here that I don't really have anything on my homepage. I haven't done much design, but I do have the member widget up here on the upper right. And if I go ahead and I click login, Wix opens up this pop-up essentially. So this isn't a page on our website. It's kind of like a light box. And this is the default sign up page. So you can see here it says sign up. And there's a prompt here that if I'm already a member, I can click to shift to the login page. So essentially I have a toggle here between sign up and login. And inside of your settings in the dashboard and in the editor, you can determine if you want to show people sign up for it first or log in first. So depending on your preference. And then we have these three options here. So we have sign up with Google, sign up with Facebook. These are our social logins, and sign up with email. And the same is true for the login page. Also inside of your dashboard settings, you have the option to toggle these off. So you can determine that you don't want to let people sign up with Google or Facebook. Sign up with email is something that you always have to allow your users to do when you're using the default Wix sign up and login. So if I go over here and I click sign up with email, you'll see a place to enter email and password and complete the sign up process. So this is what's called the default sign up and login. So this page right over here, this is the default login, and this is the default sign up. In this series, we're going to be exploring different ways that you can customize this experience for your users. So there are essentially two levels of customization that we're going to talk about. One is a no-code customization, and one is a code customization. And a fourth bonus episode that we're going to have is going to explore using a completely different software for authentication, so not using this native Wix authentication, and seeing how we can integrate those two things. But for now, we're going to be focusing initially on the Wix solutions. Earlier, I told you that there are other ways that you might prompt that pop up, except for using the login widget that we have over here. So for example, if you were to create a page that is a members only page, let me go over here and demo that for you. So let's say I go here to pages and menu, and I go here and add a page, and I'm just going to add in a blank page like that. If I go into so let's call this, let's say members only. And if I go into this page's settings and to permissions, then you can see I can set it to be for site members only. And if I do that, then when somebody navigates to that page and they are not a logged in member, they may be prompted, they definitely will be prompted to log in. So that's another scenario where that lightbox might pop up, except for if a user decides to try and log in themselves. And there may be other similar scenarios where a user interacts with something that requires authentication, so requires a user to log in. And in that case, those light boxes will come up. And depending on which option you use for sign up and login, when the user encounters those situations, Wix will know to use the one that you designated. That might have gone over your head at the moment, but don't worry, we're going to explain that a bit more. Lastly, I'm going to say that there are also ways to prompt the login using code. So if you wanted to trigger that lightbox for the sign up and login by yourself, you also have the option of using velo code in order to do that. Let's now go over the three levels of customization that we have with regard to the sign up and login. So if we go over here to pages and menu, and we go to sign up and login right over here, and we go, for example, to start with to the sign up form, you can see here that it's set to default form. Which member sign up form do you want your visitors to see? So it's the default form. I have the option, if I want, to go ahead and select here custom form. Okay, so that's the first level of customization, and this will be a no-code custom form that I can design, and this, for example, will allow me to add in more fields, etc. We're going to explore that in a moment. And you have the same options over here when it comes to the login form. Okay, so I'm demonstrating everything here on the sign up form, but the login form has the same options. And in Wix Studio, you also have the same options. Now, you might be thinking, wait, you said that there are 2 levels of customization, but here you only see 1. So the additional level of customization will only be exposed to us if we turn on dev mode, because this is a customization that requires code. So if I was to go over here to dev mode and turn it on, so right up here on top, I'm going to go ahead and click turn on dev mode. If you are using, again, Wix Studio, then turning on dev mode is going to be right over here. So you see this kind of squiggly brackets, and you can just click over here, start coding. So that's how to turn on dev mode inside of Wix Studio. And back here to the Wix Classic editor. Now that I have turned on dev mode without diving into coding and stuff like that at the moment, you can see here that if I go to the sign up and login page, and I go here to the sign up form, and I open the drop down here, we have revealed an Easter egg, a new kind of form that we can have here in terms of member sign up, and that is a velo form. So that's a coded form that's going to require us to use velo APIs or now the SDK in order to customize that form. So those are the 3 levels that we have. Again, just to recap, we have default form, which is the form that I showed you that comes out of the box. Obviously, it does not require any code. We have the custom form, which is going to allow us some level of customization and also is not going to require any code. And we have a velo form, which is the highest level of customization, and that is going to require some code. Now that we have a basic understanding of the 3 different levels of customization, let's go ahead and start experimenting with the second level. So the level right above default, which is our custom form. So if I go ahead here and change this to custom form right over here, so I would have this button that prompts me to add it to site. So I go ahead and click add to site. And what this is going to do is it's going to add a lightbox that we now have access to and can edit. So the previous lightbox, the default design that Wix provides, we have really no option in terms of editing it. It just comes out of the box, and you can change a few things using the settings like I explained previously. In this custom form, you see here that we have access to the lightbox just like we would with any other lightbox on Wix, and that means that we have control. So what we can do is we can change design. So let's say I don't want this to say sign up, or I want it to kind of look a little different. So I have the option here to, let's say, change the color here to blue, just because I want to. So this wouldn't be possible with the out of the box, the default sign up form. You can see here that we also have the option to add in more inputs. So we have here first name and last name in addition to the email and password. Okay. And Wix essentially knows that this email field and this password field are the fields that are going to be linked to the user's email and password. So it doesn't require any code or anything for you to link up. You just need to make sure that you're putting in the correct fields. For example, if you want to add in a new field, you can just go ahead and select the form and click here, Add New Field. And once you do that, you can see here the options of all the fields to add in. So you can see here that we've already added in login email, login password, link to login. And if we were to go ahead and delete one of these by accident, so if I just go ahead and delete password just like that, or at least try to delete it, let's see, delete. So I deleted my password field, and Wix is obviously getting a little nervous because this form is not going to work now because there's no password. So if this happens to you, then you can just go ahead back over here to add new field, and then go ahead and add in the password, which Wix is telling us that it's required, and just go ahead and click this plus button, and boom. So we have our input back over here, and we have free reign, so we can change the design, And if we want, we also have the option to add in additional fields that aren't here. So we have different checkboxes here. We have different member fields, phone, reCAPTCHA, address, and we can set if they're required or not. And we have different custom fields that we can add over here, etc., etc. Okay, so this is what we have here in terms of the custom sign-up form. One thing that you will notice or not notice, and I'll tell you, is that this custom form does not have the social logins. Okay, so once you decide that you're using a custom form in Wix for sign up, that means that you are giving up on social logins. You are only allowing people essentially to sign up with email and password. So this, again, it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of design and information that you can collect when the user is initially signing up, but it has that limitation of not having not having social logins out of the box, which means that if you also wanted social logins, that would require quite a lot of custom coding and integrating with those APIs directly. And that is something that is true also if you were to use the custom code form, the velo, so the higher level of customization. So anything except for the default Wix sign-up form is not going to have social login. So that's one important thing to note. Just like with sign up, with regard to login, we also have the option to add in a custom form. So same method here, we click on member login form, and then switch this here from default form to custom form, and then go ahead and click here, add to site. And this is going to go ahead and add in the custom login form. So you'll see here that it looks a little different than the sign up form. So essentially what we have here is email and password. We don't really have any other elements that we can add in. So there's no custom fields here because typically you're not going to be collecting a user's information beyond email and password in order to log them in like you would with sign up. Sign up, you might want to gather some more information about a person, but login is really just about getting them into the site. So we do have some options here for customization. So I can go ahead and change the design here in terms of the inputs. Let's say I like this bright green one instead of the one that they have. So I can choose that or go ahead and change the design myself. And one thing that you will notice here, which is a bit odd, is that you do have the option here to do social logins with the custom login box. So you don't have the option to do social logins with social sign up, but you do have the option to do social login. So that's an important thing to note. So that might influence your decisions on whether you're going with default or custom in the sign up and login. Now that we understand a little bit about these different forms and how to build them, let's go ahead and publish our site and see now what happens when we go ahead and click that login widget on the upper right. Here we are back on the live site, and I'm going to go ahead and give this login button a click. And once I do that, so you can see here that we are now taken to our custom signup form. Again, you can set if you want to show sign up first or login first, but Wix now knows because we set it in the page settings that whenever we have a login scenario, so whether we click that widget or the other scenarios that I described, whether you're hitting a members only page or prompting login sign up from code, etc., Wix will know that this is the lightbox that it should open as opposed to the default one. So that's really what we were doing here. And if I click over here, login, then it will go ahead and take me to my custom login. I was playing around here a bit with the social login, so that's what you're seeing over here, all the duplication. You can ignore that. But basically, this is the social login, the custom login form that we set up. So that is what happens when you decide to switch from default. Okay, so just to recap over here, what we did is we went ahead to pages and menu, and we went to our sign up forms and login forms and settings. and we switched from custom form to from default form, to custom form. And you'll notice also that if you want to go back in and edit the sign up form, so you can do that from right over here. So edit custom sign up form. So just to recap what we did today, we went to our pages and menu after installing Wix Members app, and we went to our sign up and login pages where we explored the 3 different levels of customization, and we discussed the difference between the default form and the custom form. By the way, if you need to edit your forms after the initial design, you can always go back here and click Edit Custom Signup Form to get back to that custom signup form and edit it. And if you want, you can always go ahead and switch back to the default form. And you can also have one of the forms in default. So for example, sign up being default and the other being custom. So login being custom or vice versa. So you have a lot of flexibility here. In the next episode, we're going to dive a level deeper and explore the 3rd level of customization, which is customizing with some velo code. So that is all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you still have any questions about the basic setup of Wix members and sign up and login, please leave your questions in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss the next episodes of this series and see next time how to use code to further customize the experience, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. This tutorial may be over, but that doesn't mean that your journey has to end here. YouTube will have some recommendations up above in a moment for more videos, but don't get too distracted because my eyes are over here, and on the WixWiz website we have a lot more resources for you to continue learning or get support for your business or project. We've got a blog, beginner courses, and a community forum where you can vent about Velo or post some tough questions like, why does my header have a mind of its own? On the website, you can also find my personal calendar to schedule a one-on-one and details about getting ongoing assistance from our team of Wix experts. I'll catch you later, and don't forget that every big feature was once a small bug.